Hello, everybody. My name is Melvese from Written Words Publishing. I'm an editor and a ghostwriter, a publisher. I'm also an author here, reading and revising my novel live with you here today. We're up to chapter 12. Chapter 12 is Naomi. So if you were here with me on Tuesday, you know that we read chapter 11. Uh, the party, or I mean, Dina Lane. It was Independence Day, and they were having a big block party in Morven Town. Everybody and their mother was there. Where was Naomi, though? Why she wasn't there? Let's find out. Chapter 12, Revelations, July 2005. The nightmares that haunted Naomi would not allow her to rest and continued to weigh heavily on her solitude. Life was like a constant battle to maintain her sanity. Although her thoughts were in a melee, her fear was real. Belief that her past was bound to catch up with her kept Naomi constantly looking over her shoulder. With nothing of interest on television, she became fatigued with boredom and decided to lift her spirits by taking a ride. Practically staring ahead in a daze, it wasn't until she spotted flashing lights from afar that she realized she was headed in the direction of Morven Town. Making a U-turn at breakneck speed, her thoughts quickly turned to the laughter at Winona Inn when she left. The inn's lobby was packed with guests returning from the party on Dina Lane. She told everyone at work that she would be there, knowing full well she had no intentions of putting herself in the middle of a crowd. Snickering to herself, she recalled how the block parties were back at home. The neighborhood was buzzing with excitement over the food and music, and everyone knew they would have a great time. It was like they were all one big happy family. Grams made the best fried chicken and potato salad. It was at a gathering around the fire hydrant to cool off that she first kissed Champ. A smile crept across her face while she envisioned his handsome face. Okay, that's face there twice. So one of those faces got to go. Um, hmm. She, hmm. Let's see. A smile crept across her face while she envisioned his handsome. Oh, I can't say smile because she just said smile. Okay, I have to fix that. One of those faces have to go. Me and my friends used to do some crazy stuff back then, and Champ saved our asses more than once. That was one of the things I loved most about him. He could always be counted on. Funny, I always tried to find ways to alter my life, and now I just want to be me. Oh, the things we do to screw up, Naomi said to herself, and took a few deep breaths in an effort to stop her tears. She pulled over when she reached the park a few miles down the interstate. She enjoyed the scenery while slowly scrolling down the trail and couldn't help but notice the couple screwing on a picnic table. She giggled but was startled when she heard a man's voice say, "You saw them too?" Naomi quickly turned with fear in her eyes. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't mean to frighten you. Left hand on the pistol in her bag, Naomi replied, "No problem. I just didn't see you." Taking a step back, she noticed the fine, light skinned man standing in front of her had light brown eyes. So he got light skin. We're gonna change light brown to hazel brown. How about that? Had hazel eyes. How about that? Just like Champ. She took her right hand out of her pocket and put it over her heart, stepping further away from him. His smile made her want to melt, and by the seductive look on his face, she could easily tell he was interested. She was snapped out of her daze by the dog's bark. No, 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 no. That sentence is not right. I'm gonna change that to the dog's bark snapped. The dog's bark brought her back to reality. That's what we're gonna say. The man said, "Forgive my rudeness. Let me introduce myself. My name is Steve, and this," he pointed at the dog, "is Roxy." Naomi reached down to pet her. "She is so cute." She looked up and said, "Glad to meet you both." Trying hard not to stare, she could barely take her eyes off of him. Let me start a new paragraph right there. Trying not to stare, she could barely take her eyes off of him, and his scent imbued her with a sweet aroma. Everything about him was alluring. Smiling, Naomi wondered, is this brother really this fine, or do I need a fix, like Darlene said? "My name is Naomi." She smiled and, okay, I'll just know I read smile like about 4 times over this past, over one page. So 3 of those smiles are going to have to go. Let's see. A smile crept across her face. Oh, no, there was another smile. Let's see. I'm just going to backtrack. Yeah, and let me catch all the smiles because I know I read it a few times. Let me go back. So a smile crept across her face while she envisioned his handsome face. One of those faces got to go. Me and my friends used to do some crazy stuff back then, and Champ saved our asses more than once. That was one of the things I love most about him. He could always be counted on. Funny, I always tried to find ways to alter my life, and now I just want to be me. All the things we do to screw up, Naomi said to herself, and took a few deep breaths in an effort to stop her tears. She pulled over when she reached the park a few miles down the interstate. She enjoyed the scenery while slowly strolling down the trail, and couldn't help but notice the couple screwing on a picnic table. She giggled, but was startled when she heard a man's voice say, "You saw them too." Naomi quickly turned with fear in her eyes. I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to frighten you." Left hand on the pistol in her bag, Naomi replied, "No problem. I just didn't see you." Taking a step back, she noticed the fine light-skinned man standing in front of her had hazel eyes, just like Champ. She took her right hand out of her pocket and put it over her heart, stepping further away from him. His smile, there it is again, made her want to melt, and by the seductive look on his face. Look at that. There go face again, too. Okay. She could easily tell he was interested. And then the dog's bark brought her back to reality. The man said, "Forgive my rudeness. Let me introduce myself. My name is Steve, and this," he pointed at the dog, "is Roxy." Naomi reached down to pet her. "She is so cute." She looked up and said, "Glad to meet you both." Trying hard not to stare, she could barely take her eyes off of him, and his scent imbued her with a sweet aroma. Everything about him was alluring. Smiling. There we go again, y'all. Knew I seen it. Naomi wondered, is this brother really this fine, or do I need a fix, like Darlene said? Okay, she referred to him as fine once before, and now she's thinking about him as fine again. So I'm going to have to fix that. So if you go on my page and look, you'll see one of my videos. It's a writing tip. Avoid using the same words multiple times on the same page or the same paragraph or even the same, no, okay, let me rephrase that. In the same sentence or the same paragraph or the same page if you can avoid it. And right here, you see that smile popped up. 1, 2, 3, 4, ooh, 5. There go another one. I'm pretty sure if I finish reading this next page, might see it again. So yeah, all of those smiles are gonna have to be rewritten. My name is Naomi. She smiled and paused to get her thoughts together. Okay, let's see. Well, anyway, I'm gonna fix all that when I go and type the changes. I'm going to fix all that. Oh wow, there go another smile I didn't see. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so ashamed of myself right now. I take that back. I'm not ashamed of myself. When I wrote this book, did not have the knowledge and the skills that I have now. That is why I am refining this great story. And I'm going to make it worthy of the New York Times best-selling title. Okay? He responded with a smile. Okay, let me back that up. I'm sick of seeing smile, my goodness. My name is Naomi. She smiled and paused to get her thoughts together. How are you and Roxy doing today? He responded with a smile. Better now that we've met you. Naomi smiled widened. My God, I gotta fix all that. Steve's deep, alluring voice was pleasing to her ears. Now, uh, a couple of chapters back, I mean, a couple of paragraphs back, sentences back, she said everything about him was alluring. Now she's saying his deep, alluring voice. So we're gonna have to change one of those allurings. Um, I don't think I would see it. I didn't think I would see anyone in the park today. Just about everyone within 20 miles of Morven Town is on Dina Lane today, Steve remarked. So I'm going to take out the second today. We don't need that. I didn't think I would see anyone out here either. In fact, I was kind of hoping not to. Forgive me if I spoiled your solitude. Okay. So Naomi used the word solitude. I know she did. I believe I heard her, I read that word somewhere before already in this chapter. I'm just going to highlight it so I can check it out. I might have to change one of them. Forgive me if I've spoiled your solitude. Steve's cell phone started ringing. Excuse me for a moment, he said. He turned his back to Naomi and moved a few feet away from her. Naomi heard him whisper in an annoyed tone of voice, "I'm at work." I should have known, she immediately thought. His brother is too fine not to have a woman. 2 seconds after he hung up his cell phone, it began ringing again. I don't have to say his cell phone. I'm just going to say 2 seconds after he hung up. So, just to recap for a moment, we are refining this great story. If you're here watching me live now, thanks for joining me. You can stick around and pick up some great some good writing tips if you're an author, if you're out there and you're trying to write your book, and enjoy the story. It's a great story. But if you want to see it live and rock and roll with me live, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock, a different chapter. Every time I go live, we're up to chapter 12 now. And So as you can see, there's like overuse of words. There's unnecessary words. There's overuse of the character names. There's punctuation that needs to be corrected. There is sentences that just need to be reworded. There are aspects, things that need to be just enhanced in this story, and that's what we are doing right now. So 2 seconds after he hung up, said 2 seconds after he hung up his cell phone, it began ringing again. I'm gonna say 2 seconds after he hung up, it began ringing again. Or should I say his cell phone began ringing again? Okay, I have to figure out the best way to word that. He answered it, whispered something quickly, and then hung up. 2 seconds later, it rang again. He didn't bother to answer it that time. Sorry about that, he apologized. No problem. I was just about to leave. I came out here trying to wind down, get some fresh air. Same here, says Steve said, but I'm going to take that out. There's a little just too much. There's only two people talking. If there's only two people talking, you don't need to indicate which character is speaking every time. You should be able to clearly tell which character is speaking. New paragraph, new character speaking. Bingo, Naomi thought. This man was like all the others, lying straight out of his pants. He was mighty good looking, though. For a brief moment, she considered inviting him to come back to the inn with her before reminding herself that looks could be deceiving. Let's see. For a brief moment, she considered inviting him to come back. That's too much. That's not right. For a brief moment, Naomi considered inviting him to her. Let's see. For a brief moment, Naomi considered inviting her to her suite at the inn before reminding herself that looks could be deceiving. She was beginning to get an uneasy feeling. And with her luck, this guy was probably a serial killer. Okay, so right there where it says she was beginning to get an uneasy feeling, I think that right there is where I could actually activate the show don't tell and describe what an uneasy feeling looks like, feels like. Okay. Waving goodbye, Naomi swiftly walked back to her car, keeping an eye on her back and a hand in her purse. Driving back to the inn, she started thinking about how much fun everyone probably had at the block party, wishing she could have gone. She was over 1,000 miles away from danger, and life was finally beginning to feel good again. But on the other hand, she knew there was no such thing as far enough. She worried that she was getting too comfortable in Morven Town. No way could she allow herself to let her guard down. And God forbid she settled down and started a new life, then suddenly had to run. She would have to concoct a new fabrication about herself all over again. Naomi decided that she needed to brainstorm a plan. Okay. She needed to make a decision about whether, yeah, okay. We don't need it there twice. So Naomi decided to brainstorm a plan. She needed to make a decision about whether Morven Town and the new friendships she had developed were a part of her destiny. Should she, or more important, could she stay there? I don't like the way that sentence is written either. After spending the majority of her time over the past 3 months in isolation, it was time to do some investigation of her surroundings. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. After spending the majority of her time over, after spending the majority of the past 3 months in isolation. Yes. After spending the majority of, take out those words, 3 words out of here. After spending the majority of the past 3 months in isolation, it was time to do some investigating. Ooh, okay. After spending the majority of the past 3 months in isolation, it was time to investigate her surroundings. There we go. Got rid of 4 more words there. Look at that. One sentence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words gone. Ooh. Yes, y'all. Less is more. It's always more than one way to say something. And oftentimes, the extra words you just don't need. She ran across some pretty apartments and imagined how nice it would be to reside in a full-size apartment instead of a little hotel suite. She considered entering the lottery that Morven held once a year in an effort to help improve the lives of less fortunate brothers and sisters who could not afford to purchase property. The prize being a rent-free condo for 2 years. Knowing how wonderful it would have been to live in Morven Town with Grams, Naomi was finally beginning to see what Grams was trying to show her years ago. She had the ability to be anything she wanted to be. It's the same principles Charles Morven was attempting to instill in the people of this town. Okay, I don't like. We can say it's the same. Not it. Let's see. It was the same principle. It was the same principle, not principles, because we're talking about one principle here, the ability to be anything you want to be. It's the same principle Charles Morven attempted to, yeah, let's change that. So take out was attempting and change that to attempted to instill in the people of this town. Thanks to her stupidity, the realization came too late. How Naomi wished Grams were alive to see her metamorphosis into adulthood. Mickey will one day be thought of as a magnificent black woman. I promise you that, Grams. That is the end of chapter 13. I'm sorry, chapter 12. Ooh, chapter 13. Okay, that's next Tuesday. that's that's a good chapter. Back to Darlene. Chapter 13 goes back to Darlene. Yeah. So if you didn't already want to smack this chick, you definitely gonna want to smack her after I read chapter 13. Anyway, that's next week. We just finished up chapter chapter 12. I just want to kick in a side note right here. First of all, if you were watching, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, or I said something. If you're a writer that you could implement into your writing, and if you are a reader and you enjoy women's fiction, you are going to enjoy this story. So I appreciate you for joining me. I just want to, on a side note, I want to go back and just reflect a little bit on Morven Town. So if you go back and you watch the video for chapter one, you will find out the uh what's the word I'm looking for? You'll find out what Morven Town is. Okay, Charles Morven, Morven Town. Okay, that's laid out in chapter one. In fact, the title of chapter one is Morven Town, USA. Okay, so obviously from this paragraph that I just read about, the raffle, the lottery for a 2-year lease, a 2-year rent-free lease for a condo in Morgantown. That it's a program that Charles Morven implemented to help brothers and sisters who can't afford to purchase property, you know, get away to live rent free for two years, so they can save up money and buy a house or buy a condo, buy whatever it is they want to do. Um, yeah, I have always had. I can't say always, but I would say the idea came to me many, many years ago. I would say probably about 25 years ago, around the time. Well, this book takes place in 2005, which is 20 years ago, but I would say, yeah, probably about 24, 25 years ago, when I came up with the idea that I would love to. Uh, okay, let me rephrase that. When I become a millionaire, which is going to happen sometime in my lifetime, I claim it and receive it. Um, I am going to purchase a hotel. Okay, like one of those residential type of hotels where the rooms are basically mini apartments or mini studios, where they have a fridge and a stove and all of that stuff. People rent them out for like a week or a month or however long they need somewhere to stay. I would like to purchase one of those hotels and turn it into some type of transitional living facility where the people will be able to, come and have a room for a certain amount of time to give them the opportunity to save money and get on their feet, implement some type of financial planning class or some type of I think the majority of the time the reason why people end up having hardship is just poor money management. They don't know how to budget, and they don't know how to create a budget. They don't know how to stick to a budget, and then they don't have any plan B if they end up in a financial situation. They have to make a decision on whether to pay one thing or pay something else, you know. But I believe that with the proper uh, training and the proper resources, people that are in that situation can overcome that situation. So after I become a millionaire, I'm going to buy a hotel and start a nonprofit and create a program like that to help people, especially single parents, young parents, perhaps teenage parents, to have a someplace solid that they can live and feel safe and learn and save money. Maybe do something like charge them a real reasonable living fee and take the fee that they pay and put it like in an interest bearing account. And when they, you know, finish their time in the program, return all that money to them with the interest. So they'll have the nest egg that they need to move forward in life. I don't know. We'll figure it out and map it all out when the time comes. That was actually my first time even speaking that out loud. That is something that has crossed my mind many, 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 many times over the past 25 years. And I've never spoken it out loud until this moment right now. So I imagine it's going to happen now that I don't put it out there in the atmosphere. I don't know if you know, but all you got to do is speak it and it will be. Believe it, speak it, believe it, take action, and it will happen. Just like Naomi's grandmother told her, okay, you have the ability to be anything you want to be. If it's something that you really want, you can have it. All you got to do is reach out and grab it, okay? Speak it into existence. Declare it. It's yours. It's already done. Then figure out what you can do physically in the natural world, and then let the spirit world take care of the rest, okay? Life and death are in the power of your tongue. I believe that that is good enough for me for today. So, thank you everybody who joined me. I'm about to sign off now. So anybody who is enjoying the story, if you want to follow along, and if you want to see how the story began and where it's going, and learn about the characters and get an idea of, why is Naomi, walking around with a freaking pistol in her purse on guard? Why does she not want to be in the middle of a crowd? Why is she 1,000 miles away from danger? You won't find out any of that yet, but basically, this chapter right here just basically lets you know that obviously she's on she's on the run from something. She's running from something. But what is she running from? And I mean, is that deep? She's on the run and she's walking around on guard, carrying a gun and what about carrying a pistol and trying to figure out whether she wants to stay in Morven Town, this great place, or leave. And I'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. See you then. You have a great weekend. Adios, everybody.